do it. What's up, nerds? Welcome to the feature match area for the last time today on your Saturday at GP Lille. On your screen, hey, we were just having a chat about this fellow here, Dmitry Budakov, the Magic Online champion, is here to get it done with Boros Angels. And another deck that we were discussing, Selesnya tokens in the hands of Emma Mangot here. So it's nice that we had a bit of a run-in, a bit of a lead-in with some of these lists, Simon. We're able to get across exactly what's going on, and I'm very keen to see what Mangot's take on Selesnya is.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking to be playing the tokens version as far as we can see, and Budakov is probably on exactly that list that he used to 5-0 a league with. At
least like very close to it, right? If the 5-0 deck was maybe as part of his testing process, then he would have learned from it, maybe adjusted a few cards here and there, see what he could do. But ultimately, I think we've got a bit of a sneak peek at what Budakov is up to as we see. Is that a Justice Strike there taking care? No, Lightning Strike, I should say. Oh, Shock is it? Just a Shock.
And Budakov is showing up to more and more events, not just playing on Magic Online.
Playing Magic IRL, MTG IRL, the latest and greatest platform. And here's History of Benalia, one of the best cards ever printed, of course. A beautiful confluence of some of my very favorite things. Knights, history, beautiful art. Oh, mate, I love this card. Budakov may have a history of his own. No, this time here it is Resplendent Angel here. This is the sort of card that can win a game on its own, as we said in the late game. I mean, it hit hard. It hits hard and early as a 3/3 flyer, but in the late game, just one or two triggers enough to get it done. But look at this. Emma Mangot getting busy. Venerated Loxodon on turn 4 without even having that 4th land, and all of a sudden these Knights are big, beefy boys.
That Angel looks really weak on that board.
All of a sudden, Budakov is going to be taking a whole bunch next turn, but Tocatli Honor Guard, Adanto Vanguard may stem the bleeding a little bit.
How do you like the turn 4 Honor Guard?
Yeah, and against Selesnya tokens?
Cool. I mean, it would have been great if it had been on the battlefield already, at least.
Well, as it is, Mangot was able to sneak that Venerated Loxodon past the Tocatli Honor Guard, who was caught napping. And as a result, these Knights are enormous. 5-power Knights here, and Legion's Landing, another card that's dear to my heart. Love this deck from Mangot, and I love the way that it's panning out for us so far. And in they come.
Interesting choice there. I don't know. I guess Emma wants to get that flipped as soon as possible.
That's exactly what's going to happen here, as we see the Legion of Dusk set up its first fort, Adanto.
And now Budakov is taking a ton of damage here. 4 + 5 is 9, and he paid 4 to...
Yep, so 13 for the Magic Online champion here. That's a real pasting for him. And the follow-up for now for Mangot, that looks like a Conclave Tribunal here. Now Mangot has a Temple Garden in hand and didn't play it.
That's surprising.
Yeah.
She was stuck on land, and then she had this really nice line where she invested a mana but got it back because of the immediate flip.
Yeah.
But maybe because of that, didn't consider playing her.
May have sort of looked at, I've got 4 lands, it's turn 4, yeah. I mean, look, the Bright Lights...
It is turn 5, but she went from 3 turns to 4.
Oh, that's right, sorry, yeah. The Bright Lights of the feature match area can dazzle even the coolest of hands here. We'll see what Mangot wants to do now. This turn, she's very, very firmly ahead, even after this Knight of Grace is played by Budakov. Her Knights certainly outstrip the opposing one there. They've spent more time tilting at windmills, and as a result, a double block is necessitated from Budakov.
And I don't know, really. This Angels deck, it has to show a bit more than that.
Yep, it's got to show a little bit more ticker here. Having said that, something like a Lyra Dawnbringer would be devastating here for Mangot if she didn't have an answer to it. A 5/5 flying life-linking first striker would be a very difficult thing for the Selesnya deck to overcome. Here's Amara. I finally printed a good Amara. People are very happy about this. And looks like Dmitry Budakov has seen enough. He's going to pack up his cards, and they're going to game number 2. A very, very convincing win for Emma Mangot there.
Yep, her creatures were just too big. And I think it came down to the +1/+1 counters. If the Resplendent Angel had been at least threatening to keep those knights at bay, everything would have been looking a lot better. But with the pump and the speed with which the Selesnya tokens deck got on the offensive, it was really tough.
Simon, we briefly before discussed Tecatli Onagard as a main deck inclusion, and I talked about the fact that I'd written about this as well. You can still find that article, channelfireball.com, and you can click through to the article, see what I wrote about it. I was first put onto this technology by my good friend Harry Porter, who, as I mentioned in the article, his actual real name is Martin, which I didn't learn for quite a number of weeks after I met him. When he became part of this friendship group, there were already 3 other Martins. And so it was decided by consensus there were too many Martins, and so he would be assigned a different name for ease. It's simply, I mean, it makes sense. You're nodding your head in approval. I can see that you like it. Anyway, Harry was talking to me about the fact that Tecatli Onagard has just been doing so much work for him. He's testing the the bejesus out of the format, and he said that it's something that should be included in the main deck. So I had a long discussion with him about it.
In which deck? Just to
in the main
in the Angels deck?
No, in the Nebulous main deck, as in it should be. It is a card that you should look to include in your starting 60 if you can, if your deck can support that.
So he was looking at ways to play Tecatli Onagard.
Exactly. Okay. And it's very interesting to me that after this discussion that we've just had, we now have 2 decks facing off against each other, doing pretty well at the GP level, both of which are playing Tecatli Onagard in their main deck.
So it's actually terrible in this matchup.
It is garbage. It is a garbage card in this matchup, and it's worse for Mangot than it is for Budakov here because she has Venerated Loxodon. But it goes to show the strength of the card. If an easily identifiable quote unquote sideboard card is being played in the main deck of decks, there's obviously a lot going for it. That's a high bar to clear.
Yep, I think also with control decks, looking at Crackling Drakes. When I'm evaluating cards, I want to get the most from them. I don't want them to be for one matchup only, because then you can't convince me to play a 2-mana 1/3. There needs to be a package where this card does enough against more than Golgari, where it's obviously great.
It's insane against Golgari. Let's be very clear. It is a stone-cold killer against Golgari.
If you have it early.
Okay, sure. All right.
Yeah. It has downsides as well. The impact if you top deck it is almost 0.
All right.
We are looking at some decks even kind of punishing themselves because it's a symmetric effect. So for me, it's really, you can't, your friend Harry Porter, you cannot say Tecatli Onagard belongs in the main deck. You have to tell me it belongs in this main deck.
In the specific main deck. Okay, all right.
Because otherwise, I can just say Teferi belongs in the main deck, right? But that doesn't tell me anything about how to attack the format as a metagame.
That's true, yes. Okay, so Tecatli Onagard has to be, if you want to build on the yes, there are significant deck building restrictions in the same way that there is, the same thing is true for Teferi. You can't just jam Teferi in any blue-white deck and expect it to do its best work.
Actually, what you want is a deck that's weak to Golgari and good against everything else. So you kind of want the second best deck in the format, and then you don't even have to sell me, because then you tell me, look, this deck beats everything but Golgari, but I'm just playing these Onagards, so my matchups are good across the board. That's the dream scenario. So you're probably not going to get that, but that's the direction that you would have to lead me towards, to agree that the Onagard is a really valuable main deck inclusion.
Well, anyway you slice it, both of these players have chosen to play 3 in the main deck, and Budakov, I think, has a 4th in the board. Yeah, that's right. So Mangot with 3, Budakov with 4. I imagine all 7 of those copies right now are sitting in the sideboards. Even after having this big discussion about this card, we're probably not going to see it played for the rest of this round with these 2 players here. Bit of a smile for Mangot there. She's obviously very happy to have picked up a convincing win in game number 1 against one of Europe's finest players, I have to say. Budakov is really a name that inspires fear against anyone playing him online. And in real life, of course, no slouch either. So
he has to be one of the players over the last few years that has just played the most Magic, period.
Yep.
And that is, I mean, he's making a living off playing Magic Online from Russia. So I think that's just something. Even if you're up a game, you know that this player, just against anybody, will have played by a factor of 10 or 15 or 20 times more games of the matchup you're playing.
Yeah, if we're going to take the 10,000 hours approach. Who was that bloke who wrote that book?
I don't remember.
The Outliers. Malcolm Gladwell. Yeah, 10,000 hours. Oh, do you want to know something incredible? We've got a judge sorting out this sleeve situation here, so I'm going to tell you something incredible. More professional NHL hockey players are born in February than any other month.
Okay.
Isn't that isn't this a ridiculous stat? This is what I learned when I was reading The Outliers by The Outliers? The Outsiders? Obviously the book didn't leave that much of an impression on me, but I definitely remember that.
That's ridiculous. Yeah, why
do you know why?
No.
Because is
it PG-13?
Yes, it is. It's nothing about what's happening 9 months before. It is. The cutoff for when players play in terms of age divisions, right? So when you're playing under 12s, when you're playing under 13s, under 14s, when you're a kid, that's determined by your age on February the 1st.
Makes sense.
So if your birthday is February the 1st and you turn 13 on that day, you can play in the under 13s. If you turn 13 on on January the 31st, you have to play in the under 12s, right? Which means that in the 14s, which means that you're an entire year behind physically and psychologically and everything else, which means you just don't have that extra year that another person would have if they're born a day later.
Yep.
Isn't that incredible?
Makes absolute sense.
But when you hear it, you can't believe it. Anyway, my friends, we've got to go. Oh, excuse me. I'm so sorry. There's a game of Magic on in front of us. Let's have a look at this. Selesnya getting off to the races now with a flower to find a plains here by the look of things. And we'll see what Mangot's second turn is going to look like as well. Looks like a tapped Temple Garden. So a slower start for her this time, Simon.
But Budakov was on the play. So something is not going his way.
Yes, I'd have to agree with that assessment. Is Mangot just going to pick up the easy peasy Winsky here? Thorn Lieutenant, the play for her.
Easiest day 2 of my life.
Budakov finally finds that second land. Let's see if he can rally here.
Played this guy with a Russian name. Never heard of him.
Never heard of this guy. No, I'm sure she's heard of Budakov. And now an attack with the Thorn Lieutenant going right past that Knight of Grace. And the follow-up play with 4 mana. It's not going to be a History of Benalia. It's going to be Shalai, the voice of plenty here. An angel taking to the skies. Mangot well and truly stealing Budakov's thunder. I thought he was the one playing the angels. But another Knight of Grace here, so it looks like it's Emma Mangot who's on that John Farnham tip, lifted up by Angels. And we'll see what her next play is here. You'd have to put her as the odds-on favourite in this situation, Simon. It's looking good.
Absolutely. Budakov does have 2 first strikers now, which is kind of nice to have on the ground. Oh.
History of Benalia, and now a venerated Loxodon. Look at this curve out here. +1/+1 counters across the board. Now, she's opening herself up to take a bit of a pasting here from Budakov this turn, but I think that's the last thing on his mind. He needs to find a way to get back into this game.
Not even that. She has a 4/4 on defense.
Oh, that's very true. Of course, the venerated Loxodon can block.
Budakov is just
goodness,
completely crushed.
He is absolutely... She's running rings around him. She's running rings around him and has picked up a day 2 appearance. I tell you what, that is quite a notch to put on your sword hilt there, because Dmitry Budakov is one of the greatest players in Europe, and a very convincing win from Emma Mangot. She didn't break stride. She absolutely steamrolled this bloke and didn't look back.
Must be the Boris Angels deck that you like so much.
Yeah, well, that's the comment. We know that Budakov's great, right? We know that he's going to win games of Magic.
That he's tested this.
He's tested this for
10,000 hours.
10,000 hours. So obviously he's landed on the wrong 75 here. Well, look, commiserations to Dmitry Budakov, but congratulations to Emma Mangot. We will see her in day 2. And of course, my friends, plenty more live Magic coming your way before the end of day number 1. We've got some other win and ins to bring you, other players in the feature match area, some names that I'm sure you've heard before. There's Zhao Choker in there, Martin Dang, the Pro Tour champion. We've got Christophe Gregoire, all familiar names for anyone following the European Grand Prix circuit closely. As Budakov makes his exit, Mangot going to enjoy basking in that peachy glow of having won in the feature match area.
I have a feeling I know what Dimitri is going to do tomorrow.
Yeah?
I have to assume he brought his laptop.
Yeah, he's probably already blocked off the time in his mind. Let's get underway with Christophe Gregoire and René Kraft here. Let's see if Kraft can live up to his name after picking up a Game 1 loss. Is it Drake's, Simon, is a deck that we've seen around the traps, but I'm curious to get your take on this much more creature-focused Izzet list.
So we're looking at the 4 Arclight Phoenix deck, but not the one with Goblin Electromancer and the... Actually, have you seen the true Arclight Phoenix deck this weekend?
Is this the one that doesn't play any red sources?
No, Arclight Phoenix, Goblin Electromancer, Storm, basically.
Oh, right,
Storm.
sure, yes.
I haven't seen it at all.
No, it's an elusive beast, Simon.
And this is not even it. It's just a hybrid between Drake deck and Arclight Phoenix is just in there because maybe sometimes you'll get it back, but it's not there to maximize it.
So we've talked about Crackling Drake appearing in control decks, Simon, and how it's sort of poorly placed there. This one looks like a much better home for this card. I think it's a real confluence of synergy here with Arclight Phoenix, Crackling Drake, and Enigma Drake, all giving a heavy incentive to play a lot of instants and sorceries, and that's exactly what the rest of the deck is. Crash through, maximize velocity, opt, Warlord's Fury, which, if you'll remember, is a very solid 13th or 14th Dominaria draft pick. Creatures gain first strike, and you draw a card.
Unless you're Andrew Cuneo, then it's a cornerstone of your mono-red aggro strategy.
Then you're flicking through the pack and not even looking at the uncommons and the rare before when you come across the Warlord's Fury.
Hoping that the Warlord's Fury is in there in sufficient numbers.
Yeah, it's you crack the pack, you look before you've even found out the card. If the front one is a Warlord's Fury, you just chuck the other 14 at the person sitting to your left. Well, right now let's have a look at what the top of the decks have chucked these two players here. Looks like Kraft has taken a mulligan down to 6 and he's going to send a card below decks. Golgari mid-range has already seen a fair bit of play in the feature match area so far, so I'm keen to see exactly how it goes against Izzet Drake, Simon.
Yeah, me too. And in particular, the main difference here that you're going to see in how the games play out is the spells in Gregoire's deck are so much cheaper than what we've seen actually throughout the day. We've seen a bunch of Chemisters Insights being cast. We've seen Expand Explosion. But no, we're looking at just running out all these jumpstart cards, maybe casting Tormenting Voice, discarding a card, and so on to just have undercosted flyers, effectively. Which, if you're coming to this event, we knew that flyers would be well positioned just because of Golgari's how popular Golgari is. Yeah,
that's something I think that people are going to need to dial in on in the coming days and weeks here, Simon, as we see Merfolk Branchwalker come down for Kraft. Is the Golgari weakness to any flying creatures? They have a very difficult time contesting the air. And as a result, I think the Dragons and the Angels of the format have a lot of work to do in contesting this Golgari menace.
And also, if you are relying on more and more Carnage Tyrants, tapping out for a 7/6 ground creature is not a good feeling when you're facing the Drake deck. Vivian Reed is probably the card that will do the most work for you in that kind of matchup.
Seeker Squire now for Kraft and an opt for Gregoire, who obviously is going to be able to chain together cantrips pretty readily here.
He's also playing with an Onslaught version of Shock. That's very old school.
Get some points from you.
Do you know what happens in the artwork?
I imagine lightning hits a creature? Is it a Psychotog or something?
It's Psychotog, yeah.
What's up?
Which is a flavor fail, of course, because Psychotog is rarely a 1/2.
Yes, it doesn't often die to a shock. I mean, it can still target it, but yes, I take your point. Here's a Beacon Bolt now, taking care of the Seeker Squire. And a Jade Light Ranger for Kraft. Going to draw him a card and reveal a Carnage Tyrant. That one's going in the bin here.
Yeah, Kraft is lacking mana. Has actually, I believe, another Carnage Tyrant in hand and Find Finality. So really just looking for lands to deploy his stronger cards. And one of the things to look out for here is that Kraft wants to use his Ravenous Chupacabra to deal with the huge flyers that Gregoire will drop. And Gregoire is kind of hoping to give those creatures haste and to circumvent the Chupacabra that way.
Tormenting Voice now, discarding an Arclight Phoenix, and I love to see that play.
Yeah, but not an immediate rise from the grave, rise from the ashes.
I'm sure it'll happen. I'm
not sure it will happen.
I'm hoping it will happen, Simon. Very much a glass half full kind of person. I don't think, I wouldn't call you a glass half empty type person. I think you're the person who would look at a glass that was half filled with water and say, that glass is too large. So here's Kraft now playing Find and returning a couple of little merfolky boys to the hand here.
Going for the full value play.
Actually, I may be mistaken here. Those merfolk may be female. I do apologise. In any case, regardless of that, they're in the hand of Rene Kraft right now. And this is the sort of value engine that is really emblematic of what Golgari midrange is all about.
Yeah. And now Gregoire is making a very smart play here. Casting Enigma Drake with Dive Down Up is much stronger than gambling on the Crackling Drake, which, if you don't draw an untapped blue source, would just die to Ravenous Chupacabra. Kraft actually could have returned a Ravenous Chupacabra with Find, so Gregoire has to assume that Kraft has access to at least one of them.
Yes, he's got some kind of answer in hand, and we can get a little sneaky peek in there at Kraft's hand and see that he does indeed have a copy of that Ravi Tubes. So Enigma Drake could be shot down from the sky, but instead it's going to be Merfolk Branchwalker. Reveals Llanowar Elves. Not a great pickup here for Kraft. That one hitting the bin, Simon?
I don't want to draw it.
Yeah. Rather just a land, right?
Land's better, of course.
Land's much better, yeah. So 3-2 Merfolk Branchwalker, of course. Bunch of 3-2 Merfolks right now. And an Assassin's Trophy is going to remove Enigma Drake from the equation. Gregoire, however, says no. Dive down beneath the waves. Safe from the gaze of Vraska here.
And Gregoire has only one non-instant or sorcery in his graveyard?
By the look of things...
Yeah, Arclight Phoenix is the only card that's not an instant or sorcery. So we have a 7-power Enigma Drake.
That's not bad.
Gregoire can now play a Crackling Drake, can play more removal to just win the board. He has a lot of options, but what he can't do is cast 3 instants or sorceries this turn.
Still, getting busy for 7 is not a bad way to spend your time here. And Gregoire can continue to develop his board should he so choose. But no, look, it's going to be, first of all, a Lava Coil. And a second Lava Coil as well. Oh, just one short, Simon. Just one short of bringing back the mighty Arcbound Phoenix here. But in for 9 now, halving Kraft's life total. And I like this. Going after the board aggressively and putting Kraft on a 1-turn clock. He has to kill this Enigma Drake, which, in fairness, he will be able to.
Yeah, but the key here was to not just attack for 7, but for 9.
For 9, exactly.
Because now every Drake is lethal. Instead of going for a 3-turn clock, which actually you wouldn't have been further, you wouldn't have been closer to winning the game if you had dropped another creature. And let's not forget that Gregoire's game plan is also to haste up some of these creatures. So it's not that relevant whether he plays them the turn before, as long as he can find the maximize velocity.
So Crackling Drake the play here for Gregoire. Draws a card, has an island in hand that he can deploy, and ships it back to Kraft. Again, this Drake is threatening lethal, so Kraft needs another answer. Of course, his deck has a few of them, but not quite as many as you'd think.
No, it's not that easy to keep killing those Drakes over and over again, and Gregoire is just going to drop another one, and then basically Kraft always has to kill every single creature. He knows that he's dead to anything with haste, and his clock is, it's not bad, but it's also what is it, a 3-turn clock?
Well, this may change things a little bit here, Simon, as we see Deathgorge Scavenger come down. Sometimes I just think the creative department is like, how can we make these cards as hard as possible for people to say? Deathgorge Scavenger. It's the j to the sk that really gets you. In any case, this dino gorges himself on a bit of roast chicken, and then Arclight Phoenix hits the exile zone. Here's a tormenting voice now, discarding another crackling drake, drawing two freshies. Both of them lands, though.
Are we just attacking for lethal?
Just attacking for lethal here. Well, let's give it trample first of all. Oh, sorry, excuse me. That's maximize the velocity, not crash through. So give it haste, which is helpful. +1/+1 as well. And get you dead. And Rene Kraft has to extend the hand. And that is that. Christophe Gregoire with Izzard Drakes makes it through to day number 2 after a convincing performance. Unfortunately, we didn't see that Arcbound Phoenix come back. I know one of us was very keen on it, so I apologise to you, Simon, that we didn't get to see what we were baying for there. But we will wrap things up now on our third and final table with João Choker and Ferran Villaferrer. Boros Weenie, we've called this. So instead of white weenie, it's white, slightly red weenie against again Golgari mid-range. We'll be seeing plenty of that this weekend, I imagine. And look at this. 2 copies of Tecatli Honor Guard. If one weren't enough, Simon.
Yep. And they're doing a good job, it seems. Ferrer nothing on the battlefield. Oh.
Well, and now João Choker is going to join him in having nothing on the battlefield as well. He's got a Baffling End in hand. Is that a Allegiance landing he's just peeled? Yes, it is. Might be a while till that one flips, however. Choker, another 5-2 player that is main decking the Tecatli Honor Guard. So maybe that's the key. Not quite.
That's the key
overwhelming
to
success.
5-2 to have a shot at maybe making.
Hey,
2.
I'd take a 5-2. If I signed up for a GP and I was guaranteed a 5-2, I would take it. Would you not take that?
No.
Okay, well, you're a much better player than me, so that makes sense.
Even if you're not, it doesn't make sense. You have to shoot for the moon.
Simon, we've discussed this. Shooting for the moon is a very bad idea. How are you going to survive in the magnificent desolation of a lunar landscape? Oh, silence. Interesting.
These sleeves are amazing.
An interesting data point, Simon. And now Merfolk Branchwalker.
Yeah, all these come into play triggers.
And all of a sudden, we're actually getting it done. That finality was huge here for Choker. It looked like Ferrer was holding onto his hand there in order to unload it at the opportune moment, which he's found. Now, look at this. We've called this deck Golgari mid-range, but it seems to me to be Sultai here.
Yes, sneaking in a bit of Sultai.
Sneaky, the old Sultai sneaky boy here. Let's have a quick look at exactly what that is for. Hadana's Climb is not a card we've seen getting it done. Of course, there are a couple of sideboard cards with these. There's things like Disdainful Stroke, but wow.
Interesting.
The Winged Temple of Araska sending things into the sky.
Vinemares in particular.
Oh, yes.
Juicy.
Juicy. So Choker now finds a Baffling End, and that exiles the 1 Jade Light Ranger. And now we see a second copy of Legion's Landing, generating a little blocker here. So Choker he's down, but not quite out. See if there's anything he can do. Ferrer has a very messy bedroom here. Look at those lands all over the place. And a cast down, being very aggressively cast. Looks like someone's been playing Magic the Gathering Arena. Look at this 45-degree tap. But enough is enough here for João Choker as he picks up his cards after taking the lethal damage off of those minions of Ferran Villaferrer. So congratulations to him. Ferran will be, of course, contesting day number 2 with the best of them, as we have seen across our tables as part of Win and In Magic. That's all she wrote today, sports fans. We will be back tomorrow. Before that, of course, a couple of important messages that we've got to get across. Here in Europe tonight, we will, of course, be entering the worst part of the year, the part where it's cold and rainy and miserable all the time, and I sit under my doona playing The Witcher and Red Dead Redemption and just forgetting that the sun is even a thing that exists. And as a result of that transition, my friends, we are, of course, heading to daylight savings time. Now, depending on where you are around the world, that's going to impact your scheduled start time of the GP coverage tomorrow morning. We are starting 9 a.m. sharp local time. So depending on where you are, again, around the world, I know things, even within the United States, I think things are different because the Pacific.
Very complicated.
Very, very silly. Very complicated indeed. So the important thing to note is that at 9 a.m. French time, we will be kicking off coverage of day number 2. You're not going to want to miss it. We have got a day full of action-packed standard, and you are going to want to get across it. So make sure you're across exactly when that's going to start. 9 a.m. local time here. There may be a wrinkle in it because, of course, we're heading out of daylight savings time.
The good thing is, if you miss daylight savings time, you're an hour early.
Yeah.
So you don't miss anything.
Yeah.
You're just bored for an hour.
That's the thing. So, if you end up ignoring all of this, which, I certainly understand. A lot of people, when I'm just like this, they just sort of switch off because nothing's really coming up that's that important. So you'll either be here for an hour staring at a blank screen, or you'll be here on time, and we're very much looking forward to having your company. Certainly better than the other way around where, players turn up an hour late. And
pretty bad.
Pretty bad. That's that, my friends. All good things must come to an end, and that is the end of day number 1 coverage. Thanks for sticking with us. We'll be back 9 a.m. sharp local time, and we will see you then for more action here from GP Lille.